Now 102.3 FM.
Americans are taking on more debt than ever before. A surge in new auto loans and higher mortgage amounts have fueled a spike in borrowing, and the Fed says collectively U.S. household debt has ballooned to $13 2/3 trillion. That's more than before the financial crisis in 2008. On Wall Street today, stocks rallied on hopes that the U.S. and China may still strike a trade deal. Today's gains, though, aren't even half of yesterday's big losses. Still, the Dow up 207, the Nasdaq up 87. Disney shares were higher after striking a deal with Comcast, that's the owner of CNBC's parent company, to take control of Hulu. The video streaming service now worth $27 billion. And be careful if you use WhatsApp. The Facebook-owned messaging app, it's used by 1.5 billion people worldwide, has been hacked, allowing spyware, which could be installed on some users' smartphones. Tom Busby, CNBC.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, if your wireless bill is growing out of control like some crazy, obnoxious weed, time to take some clippers to it. Cut that bill in half with Straight Talk Wireless. For just $45 a month, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for half the cost of big carriers. All on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. No contracts, no mystery fees, ever. Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less.
Savings may vary. See straighttalk.com.
Discount travel sites say they have the best prices, but Hilton.com has the price match guarantee. Look me in the eye. If you find a better rate, they match it and take 25% off. Yeah, well, this is radio, so just stare at the radio. Hilton.com has the best prices. Pinky swear. Or, radio swear. Plus, you can choose your exact room and get free Wi-Fi. Cross my heart, stick a needle in my radio. Expect better. Expect Hilton.
Must be a Hilton Honors member. Applicable terms and conditions at Hilton.com. Pinky swear.
California headline news. Some California residents could experience blackouts as long as 5 days this summer as PG&E looks to cut the risk of wildfire and windy conditions, an idea being considered by the Sacramento Municipal Utility District as well.
We hope this is a wildfire season that is minimal, but if necessary and we need to protect our public, we'll do whatever is necessary to do so, and that includes shutting off the power if we must.
Chris Capper with SMUD. Police in Long Beach continuing to investigate the death of a 63-year-old woman who was apparently beaten with an electric scooter. A neighbor familiar with the suspect.
And he's always on the corner, sometimes in pajamas, sometimes in regular clothes, but he's just kind of there talking to himself, and I assumed he was living in that area right there, in those houses on that corner, because he's always there.
Suspect fled the scene, not clear what provoked the attack.
Mrs. Huygens.
Tim Conway, best remembered for his years on The Carol Burnett Show, has died in Los Angeles at the age of 85 following a long illness. Jeff Scott, California News.
We work hard at being healthier. When what we really need is proven quality sleep. Only the Sleep Number 360 smart bed intelligently senses your movements and automatically adjusts to your comfort and support on both sides, your Sleep Number setting. Sleep Number is ranked #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses by J.D. Power. And during our Memorial Day sale, save $1,000 on the new Queen Sleep Number 360 Special Edition smart bed, only $17.99, only for a limited time. For J.D. Power 2018 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find your local Sleep Number store, go to sleepnumber.com.
They say that if you want to know a person, you should walk a mile in their shoes. Same thing goes for tires. Except Firestone knows it's not just 1 mile, it's many. With the industry-leading 90-day buy and try guarantee, you can test drive our tires for 90 days. Then if you're not fully satisfied with them, we'll refund or replace them for you. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
Conditions apply. See FirestoneTire.com for details.
No matter if the market is up or the market is down, Phil Grandy and his Phil's Gang members prepared for market volatility and making profits.
Cisco in April, we're up 4%. We just got in that in April. Lockheed Martin, we're up now 7%. Facebook, we bought April 9th, we're up 10%. Morgan Stanley, we're up 11%. WLL, we bought April 1st, we're up 19%. And let's take this year, the Spiders, the S&P 500, we are up 16%. Apple, we're up 26%. 10%. Railroad, CSX, we're up 17%. And at the end of the day, when the market keeps going up and up and up and you're in that market, you're never out in time. You ride it all the way back down, especially with your 401ks. Let's change that today. 877-600-GANG, 877-600-GANG. Let's change it today.
Don't wait. Find out more at philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
KCAA.
Spokesperson.
This is a legal alert for users of Roundup Weed Killer. Roundup Weed Killer has been designated as a probable human carcinogen by the World Health Organization. In July 2018, a judge determined that all federal lawsuits could move forward against Monsanto, the maker of Roundup Weed Killer, over concerns that those exposed to Roundup are at risk for developing non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And in 2 landmark verdicts, one in March 2019 for $80 million and one in August 2018 for $289 million, it was concluded that Roundup was responsible for the plaintiff's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Roundup Weed Killer is the most commonly used weed killer in American agriculture, with an estimated 85 to 90 million pounds used each year. If you or someone you love has been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma after being exposed to Roundup or a glyphosate herbicide, you may be entitled to compensation. How do you fight for the compensation you deserve? You choose the right legal team that has the experience, support staff, and resources to seek the most compensation for your injuries. Call now.
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Right before me, my newfound hippie side. Once ignored these conspiracies online. Out the window, visions of the earth. Sign me up now, make sure you use your smart. Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Would your children lie to see Mother Nature's side?
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Welcome to Smart Health Talk, everyone. And I hope you're a return listener or watcher, because of course you can watch us right here in the studio at kcaaradio.com or live stream on YouTube. And that's over at the KCAA channel on YouTube. Smart Health Talk also has a channel, which we hit our big 100,000 views. Woohoo! Please subscribe to us, because I'm going to be posting. I've been working on some videos on how to get rid of ants and gophers, and some great tips on how to save money and still eat organic, those kind of things. So, as well as some incredible guests that we've had on our show, and product reviews, things like that. So, lots of fun stuff that helps you stay healthy and alive, and hopefully have lots of energy and want to get out there and do what you can to make this world a better place, because that's what we're trying to do here with Smart Health Talk. And that's why we have 2 incredible guests for you today. First of all, we have David Dickens, and he's from the Miller Firm. And I don't know if you guys heard the big news, but we just had a $2 billion settlement against, Monsanto and their product Roundup. You know that stuff that they told you it was okay to use in your front yard in your shorts? Well, maybe not. So safe. As a matter of fact, I think the jury in this case and other cases that David has been involved in, like the $289 million settlement with Dwayne Johnson, who is a janitor who worked for a school district and sprayed Roundup as part of his job. That once the jury hears the evidence, they seem to be not too happy with what they're hearing. But what really went on in that courtroom? We got the man to tell us what really went on in that courtroom in this trial of the century against Monsanto that is laying the groundwork for 13,000 more cases pending, and who knows how many more are going to start showing up once they start getting the news, because of course you don't hear it too much on mainstream media. We hear Trump, 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 but did we hear about how the EPA just came out after all of this stuff happening, all these jury decisions, the EPA coming out saying, oh, don't worry, everyone. Glyphosate is safe. It doesn't cause cancer. Well, I think there's 13,000 cases pending that say, yes, it does. And I think we have juries that are saying over and over again, once they hear the evidence, yes, it causes cancer. But we have David Dickens on the line right now, and I want to give him a chance to tell us what went on in that courtroom and how these guys managed to try this case and get a $2 billion settlement, because I don't know about you, but that was some mean lawyering, and that was the kind that's like looking out for the little guy up against some big mega corporations. So in my book, these guys are heroes, and not just that, but there's some bad lawyers, I'll tell you. They know how to get the job done. So David, congratulations.
Thank you, Elaine, and it's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate it.
Well, we have a little something we wanted to play for you. Yeah! Woo! Yeah, we're celebrating right here.
Absolutely. Well, yes, so are we, and certainly so are the clients and everyone else who has cases pending. So,
well, we had to play one of the commercials that are playing on television before our show.
It's those commercials are everywhere, and we even played them in the courtroom and for the jury, the commercials that our clients saw, which show general people out there spraying without any protective equipment in shorts and t-shirts, and so it's really mind-boggling that they're still running those type of commercials with all the litigation and all the controversy and all the evidence proving that it does cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So it's certainly appreciate what you're doing, and we'll celebrate this one, but tomorrow we get back to work and start trying to push more cases to trial.
Well, this does help pave. When you get these kind of wins, how does it affect the other cases pending? Do you think that this is a benefit to those cases?
Oh, absolutely. And so each of these cases are handled individually. So, Mr. Johnson was the first verdict, and then our firm represented him, and he had his own trial. And in this case, it was actually a husband and wife, Alberta and Al Piliad, who both developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma after spraying Roundup for about 1,500 days in their life at 3 separate properties with large exposure. And they actually both came down with the same type of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, being diffuse large B-cell. Now, Ms. Piliad had that actually in her brain, so it was, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but it affected her brain, and she still, has trouble walking. And Mr. Piliad, had a more traditional non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But these type of verdicts, while technically, it won't, have any effect to the extent that they have to go in and prove their case at trial, it certainly pushes the ball down the road and puts additional pressure on Monsanto, not only to come to the table and try to resolve the 13,000 cases through settlement or otherwise, but, puts pressure on them to actually act, and act meaning put a warning on their label, warn people finally that they know that this product is toxic and can cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and to warn them to use protective if it's still on the market and people are going to use it. Warn them that they need to wear protective equipment, and so the pressure is really on them now. You can see it in Bayer, who's purchased Monsanto. Their stock price is it's been reduced almost 50% now. I mean, it's just plummeting. Shareholders have, essentially had a revolt. And so, the momentum's coming. And so, we're going to continue to keep pushing these cases forward to trial. Monsanto and Bayer says they're going to continue to fight these, but at some point in time, we keep winning verdicts. It's a great step forward for everybody, all 13,000 and everyone else who's developed non-Hodgkin's who don't yet have a case. So we're going to keep pushing forward, and hopefully these verdicts, we know.
You're not just winning verdicts, but you're winning appeals.
Well, yeah, so the cases are on appeal at this point in time. So Mr. Johnson's will be the first one, and so they're appealing it up to the California Appellate Court. We're responding. Our response will be due, in a week. We've already won a first step in that they tried to, and they filed a motion to get the court to, essentially say that the judge in the Johnson trial was influenced by public pressure, and that's why they lost. And so the appeals court said no, there's no evidence that public pressure had anything to do with the court's decision in the case. And part of that was to show how much not only this meant to, the public and certainly your listeners, but the jury in that Johnson case. After the verdict, there was a hearing where Monsanto asked the court to throw the entire $289 million verdict out. And the 12 or so jurors actually showed up to that hearing and afterwards wrote the judge letters and said, we are an intelligent jury. We take this seriously, and we think this causes cancer. And we think it caused Mr. Johnson's cancer, and we stand by the verdict that we entered there. And so, that just shows that we've had three jury trials so far, and almost unanimously, all jurors have voted that not only do they think this causes cancer, but that Monsanto acted with malice, which is a conscious disregard for the safety of others in the way that they've handled Roundup, in the way that they've failed to warn consumers, the way they've tried to hide or manipulate science. And so this isn't a question of these jurors, being on the edge and it's a close call. It's been unanimous in pretty much every one of the three cases that have gone forward to trial so far.
Well, yeah, I know that some people have tried to argue that, the jury, that this is has a lot of science involved and that they couldn't comprehend. But just having listened to you right then, David, it comes down to people know when they've been ripped off. They know when they've been lied to. When they find out the truth, it just leaves you with a feeling, that yucky feeling. And did you kind of see that on the faces of the jury as they would hear some of this shocking testimony? And why don't you explain to us about how not all testimony that was actually relevant was allowed to be heard by the jury?
Yeah, that's right. And so, one of the big differences is, so the answer is, first, yes. You could see it. And we were actually able to speak to jurors following the verdict. Both sides had that opportunity to ask questions, to get input as to the case, and they flat out told us, yes. And the punitive damages findings, in the first case, over $200 million, and certainly in this last case where they awarded both Piliads $1 billion, so over $2 billion, that speaks to how bad they thought this conduct was, because that punitive damages award, that's not meant to compensate the plaintiff. It's meant to punish Monsanto for its conduct. And so they flat out told us, yes. When you get all of the evidence together, it's over 40 years of bad conduct and manipulation of the science. And so, what we knew from, and we're able to piece together from the outset, is that Roundup was approved in 1971, but it was approved on fraudulent studies that were actually conducted by an outside company who a former Monsanto employee went to work with during the time. And, the only animal tests that were submitted in the 1970s to approve Roundup were at this actual company who ran it for them. And then years later, it comes out and people were actually arrested for fraud. And so, the EPA came back and told Monsanto the only studies you had were fraudulent. You need to rerun these studies. And when they did, there was evidence that it causes cancer in rodents. And so the EPA, and I know you're aware of the, and I've talked about it on previous shows, the Kenizevich and Hogan study where they found the rodent tumors, and the EPA said, well, this is a Class C carcinogen. It's possibly carcinogenic in humans, and that was the initial classification by the EPA. But Monsanto said, well, we're going to go back, and they actually hired a pathologist to come in to review and find something that has been referred to as the magic tumor, but they found a tumor in a control group that just ruined statistical significance. And the EPA said, run more tests, and Monsanto refused. Monsanto went out and hired a pathologist who came in, or not a pathologist, a world-leading expert on genotoxicity who came in and reviewed all of the data and said, I think this is genotoxic. You should run more studies. And Monsanto said, and we have the documents to prove it, we're just not going to do that. And so this has really been 40 years where they've been manipulating science, and they've been doing something called ghostwriting, which means that they actually write studies and then go out and find scientists to put their names on it. And that's flooding the literature and what they actually rely on. So when the juries have been weighing this evidence about studies out there that they're relying on that are actually written by Monsanto versus, independent third parties, it's pretty easy for them to decide which is more credible and which one to believe.
Were there universities associated with these scientists that were involved in any way with the people working for them signing off on this fabricated science?
Yeah, so there's no indication that that universities per se had knowledge of everything that was going on. One of the journals that published one of these ghostwriting studies has recently come out with all the evidence that we've submitted at trial, and actually published a statement that indicates that we were unaware of the ghostwriting aspect, and we can't stand by the credibility of the article, essentially. And so, this information's coming out, and certainly these authors have had some blowback based on their role and involvement in these ghostwritten articles. But a lot of these people are long-time apologists for Monsanto and have been working with them as consultants since the beginning. And so, have they worked at universities? Yes, but once again, these seems to be in scientists that have been doing it on their own. But with all that said, once again, it's all being coordinated by Monsanto. It's actually once again, we have documents that show this was part of their plan, and especially when IARC came out, they had a dedicated, coordinated plan not to go out and warn people of IARC's findings, which were this is a probable human carcinogen, but to spend their time and their money combating anyone who came out against them and coordinating efforts to disparage IARC as an organization, to say that they don't know what they're doing, that they're ignoring relevant science, relevant studies. And so really it's been the same game plan.
And then there was B-Logics. I mean, there was a nonprofit organization that was testing pesticides, their pesticides against how much bees were being killed. And right when they were about ready to publish their studies' conclusions, Monsanto buys the nonprofit.
Right. Yeah, and we're seeing that over and over again, and just the past several days it came out of Monsanto was keeping tabs on critics and scientists, and hired a company to track them, and so it's anyone who's come out and challenged Monsanto, whether it be non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
That is creepy. That is really creepy.
It is.
And
it
scary at the same time. And I feel for those scientists.
That's right. And so, one of our experts was with IARC, And
these were like the top oncologists in the world that we have represented.
Oh, absolutely. That's right. Top oncologists in the world. We have toxicologists. We have pathologists, all who have been involved in the question of pesticides and cancer, and that's what they've dedicated their life to. And so one of our experts, Dr. Portier, actually was, working for IARC. He's previously worked for the EPA and actually written EPA guidelines on how to evaluate carcinogens. And so he's one of our experts, and what he says is EPA just hasn't followed their own guidelines. And, once again, when, you brought up a good point that the EPA has come out and says it doesn't cause cancer. And really there's two important things to keep in mind. First, EPA only evaluates the active ingredient in Roundup. So that's glyphosate. What the EPA does not do is actually assess whether or not the formulated product, the actual product being used by consumers, is carcinogenic. So they don't look at the glyphosate with all of the other ingredients, meaning something they call the surfactant. In the United States, they actually sell a surfactant, which is known as POEA. That's actually been banned in Europe. They can't even use that surfactant because of its toxicity. And so in the United States, they're selling a product that they know is more toxic than what they're selling in other areas of the world, which is, one, creepy and frightening. And
yeah, what are we?
That.
What we're like lower on the totem pole somehow. That you can poison them with more toxic poisons. It's okay.
Yeah.
Is that what we are as Americans? Just somebody to poison?
Yeah, we have documents where employees ask, why use a more toxic substance when there's less toxic alternatives available? And, Monsanto actually gives their reasonings, which is, we don't want this to snowball. And, a lot of completely inappropriate reasons, knowing that you're selling a more toxic chemical to companies. But, once again, the EPA doesn't even test that formulated product.
That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And the other bottom line is, and we have documents where, the EPA has specifically said, we've got Monsanto's back. We have documents where the, investigator for Roundup and carcinogenicity at the Office of Pesticide Programs, says to Monsanto specifically, if I can kill another EPA division's review of glyphosate, if I kill this, I should get a medal. And this is what he's telling Monsanto. So we know there's a close connection between Monsanto and the EPA. And once again, the EPA doesn't.
He means instead of a medal, he's really saying I should get a payoff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that connection is there, and it's real. And so, you combine those two factors. Once again, what the jury's asked to do is to grade the credibility, of IARC, which is a third-party, completely independent organization, versus the EPA, who has approved and has allowed this to be on the market for 40 years. So, the bias there makes it clear, and the jury is seeing that. And after weeks and weeks and weeks of evidence, it's pretty clear to every juror who's heard the case so far.
These jury members are pretty passionate about their verdicts, aren't they?
Oh, they absolutely are. And once again, the Johnson verdict, it's not, you mentioned that science and it's difficult. We had a microbiologist with a PhD on the jury at the Johnson trial. This last one for the Piliads are all, extremely, dedicated, and the amount of notes that they take and the attention that they're paying, they recognize that this is an important trial, and they take it seriously. And that's, all of them, we go through long jury selection processes that if anyone has a bias either way, towards Monsanto or us, they're not going to be allowed on the jury. So these are unbiased jurors who take their job seriously. And so when
But how can you help but think about yourself, too, in your own family when you're hearing all those?
Well, and that's, part of what they put aside, and it is difficult, and these jurors, and that's why the court takes it so seriously in finding jurors who can rule on the evidence that's presented to them, there's a lot of people who say just that is whether they have someone in their family who's had cancer that they don't think they can be unbiased, but the court is very sure, and sometimes it takes weeks to pick a jury in these cases because of the fact that the court wants to make sure that they're picking as unbiased and fair jury as possible. And so they get very angry when Monsanto comes in after these large verdicts and says they were inflamed by passion, or not considering the evidence and just ruling based on what they think their family members would want to hear. The jurors get really upset about that and come in and want to say as publicly as possible, that's not the case. We just listen to the evidence. We believe they act with malice and conscious disregard. We believe unanimously that this causes cancer, and we want to be heard on that.
And that's our justice system at work. I am so proud of you and your whole firm and those juries that have, been willing to stand up for what's right. What does it feel like when you're the person that you're representing there? They hear the verdict and that moment, when you guys get a chance to connect, with that winning feeling that even though they're facing cancer, and who knows how much longer they have to live, but at least, they won. They had their day in court and they won. It must just be exhilaration.
Oh, it absolutely is. It's exhilaration. It's relief. It's all of that rolled into one, and it's such an emotional situation for us as attorneys and the client. None of us know, once again, the jury system at work, but none of us know going in what the jury's going to do. We're not involved in that process of deliberation. So when they walk out, we really have no idea whether it's going to be a verdict for defendant, being Monsanto, or for us, and if so, what that verdict's going to be. So, sitting there waiting, this last one, we had to wait over the weekend while the jury, from Thursday through Monday, and it's 4 days of just, butterflies in your stomach, not knowing when it's coming or what that's going to be.
And then you hear $2 billion, and you're just kind of yeah.
Well, that's your.
We did it.
They gave us every penny we asked for, and we asked them. People say, you asked for $1 billion, and once again, it's meant to punish Monsanto and
to send a message: quit poisoning us, quit killing us.
That's right, and with a company like that, with the amount of profit that they're making daily,
the power that they have,
and that's right. That to send a message, it's got to be a large amount of money, and so everyone was relieved. The great thing is that both the Pilliards, and Mr. Johnson, and I know we're lucky enough to work with the firm that handled the other trial for the Hardiman family, and we've had plaintiffs and pretty much everyone we represent are come in and take such a positive attitude, and none of them said if I win this is going to devastate me. They just said I'm not only doing this for me, I'm willing to step out there as one of the first plaintiffs to hopefully, get the momentum going and to do it for others. So win or lose, at least we got the word out there, and luckily we won. So we still haven't received any money from any of these cases. Mr. Johnson, unfortunately, part of the reason he got such a quick trial date is he was given less than 2 years to live, and so he's doing well. It's better than I think people expected. We just spent a long time with him, and he's still fighting and doing well. But because of the appeals, he hasn't and may never see the money that actually was awarded to him. So, we're trying to push the appeal quickly, but he may never actually see it. And so, that's just the unfortunate thing. But as I said, he's one of the most positive people I know, and that doesn't matter to him. So,
well, I know your
that
firm has like really been there for many things that have to do with citizens' rights to breathe clean air, drink clean water, eat food that doesn't give you cancer, do things in your life that you think you've been told are safe, and that's what you think. So, why would it be their fault? And putting this pressure on is the only way we're going to have change and be able to really protect our families against corporations that just have the money and the greed as their motivator and don't care what happens to people in the process. So I really appreciate all that your firm has done, and you David, you're definitely a champion and a hero in my book. And if we did, who's gonna like fight for these people if we didn't have lawyers like you? So, and like you said, you guys haven't received any money yet, so hopefully you get some money someday. I hope you get some money for this someday, and the plaintiffs as well. So, well, good luck.
Well, thank you, Elaine, and
everything coming up. All these
shows like yours, help just as much getting the word out. So, the momentum's going. So, any listeners that want to do anything, to take these verdicts and go to.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, what would you have to say about other people that are maybe listening, and maybe, they've had some experiences where they think that some of their illness might be related to this, because them speaking up and getting involved in this is how we create change. So their voice...
That's absolutely right.
So their voice is important.
The answer is, you can always contact our firm. We're the Miller firm, and we're in Virginia, and you can find us online. If you have any questions about, if your illness is related, it's hard to get enough science to win some of these cases. But if you're just interested in trying to get Roundup and glyphosate out of, it's everywhere. It's in our food system, it's in our water, it's in rain. It's been found, so it's literally everywhere. So if there's concerns. What we've seen are people go to their, town or cities or, local communities and bring these verdicts and the science and just say, we don't want this to be used in public grounds, on our playgrounds. And it's actually been effective. I know a bunch of California cities banned.
Yeah, the non-toxic cities, yes.
That's right, and so the momentum's there now, and certainly with public pressures kind of at its greatest at this point in time, and so that's a place to start. It's easier to get it out of your cities and use of playgrounds than your states doing restrictions or bans, but that's a possibility too. So really the legislative way to do it, if you don't have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, is always a real possibility. Get as many people to join you as possible, and you can really make change in your community.
Well, thanks so much, David, for the words of encouragement there. And yes, already cities, we have go to non-toxic cities. Just type that in the search, and you'll get all kinds of help and information. And that was like the perfect way to end. So thank you so much,
Great.
David, and for joining us on Smart Health Talk. And good luck on that next case. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay, everyone. That was David Dickens on the Monsanto trial. And now we have the ginger people waiting. Janessa? Yeah, Janessa's ready?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Hey, Janessa. Go ahead and this is Janessa from the Ginger People, everyone. So go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little something about your you and your position at the Ginger People Company. And meanwhile, I'm going to get my ginger stuff out and put it out here in front of me on the table.
Wonderful. Yes. Well, my name's Janessa Stewart. I'm with the Ginger People, and I am our brand educator. So part of my job is to teach all of our fans and retailers and our sales team and viewers and listeners all about ginger, our products, what our mission is here at the Ginger People, and why we believe in having ginger every day.
Well, I tell you, when I went to your website and I saw all the products that you guys make, I felt like I would found like ginger heaven because you guys and the quality, you can just tell the quality of your products are like some of the best that you can get. And we're going to go over some of the different products you can get from the Ginger People and the benefits of ginger, because I think a lot of people don't understand just how incredible ginger is. As a dietitian and someone that likes to heal with food, I love having ginger in my toolbox to help people in so many different ways, but not just for healing, but for everyday homeostasis, keeping your body balanced and having the energy that you want when you want it, those kind of things. So why don't you just give us a little quick, because I know you're good at those, Janessa. I want to learn. I want to learn from you. So go ahead.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely really hit the nail on the head there. Ginger has so many health benefits and actions of its own, but it also is just an all-over superfood. So, it's considered very tonic for the body and for our health. In Ayurvedic medicine, for example, it's considered tridosha, so it's good for all energy types, whether you're Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. It's good for all types across the board. It's used in so many different cultures and remedies and traditional herbal remedies, of course, too. Most familiar with the traditional Chinese, and then, of course, Ayurveda. But, you will find ginger on just about every continent and just about every form of cuisine. And we here at the Ginger People make over 80 different products, so you have something to use it in whichever way you want to, whether it's something you want to drink, like our turmeric latte mix, for example, or our ginger shots, which are brand new and great alternative to regular caffeinated energy drinks, or it's something you want to cook with, like our Pantry Essentials line and sauces and marinades and crystallized ginger, or a little healthier for you treat or snack like our candies, our Gingins line, which we're most popular for. So, we have something for everyone across the board, whether it's something you want to cook with, something you want to chew on, something you want to drink. We've got all the bases covered.
Well, that was perfect. I love how you just really covered it all on the different products on your website, too. As a matter of fact, I'm here, if everyone tunes to KCARadio.com, because, you can tune in live and watch us here at the studio. I have Ginger People latte here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a sip.
Wonderful.
I actually made it with my raw grass-fed organic milk that's delivered to my house by the farmer that raises the 3 cows that he has.
Oh, wow. That sounds delicious.
Oh, and this latte... Oh my gosh, Janessa, to tell you the truth, I was a little bit skeptical of whether I was going to like it or not. It is absolutely delicious. This is like...
Thank you.
This is
we
so
really pride
yummy.
ourselves on making products that are not only functional and effective, but delicious, too, because if they're not delicious, then you're not going to want to take them regularly. So we want to have it well-rounded there with all of those aspects, covered. So I'm so glad you're enjoying the turmeric latte.
I can't believe that you have the same mantra that I do. Because I feel the same way, because we have to make healthy foods taste good, make them convenient, and then that way people will do it. Oh, thank you. Nick just did a close-up, everyone, for our turmeric latte mix. Thank you. If you make it taste good, people will do it on a regular basis.
Right, exactly.
And that's how you really get the benefits, because those ingredients, you want to keep them at a high level in your system over a period of time, if you can, to really get the benefits.
Exactly. And with the turmeric latte mix in particular, and the ginger shots as well, these are flavors that most people here might not be totally familiar with or maybe not necessarily a huge fan of, but want to try them for the health benefits. Maybe they heard about the wonderful antioxidant properties associated with ginger and turmeric, and they want to find a way to get it easily and conveniently into their diet daily or as needed. And these products do that because we've formulated them. For example, the turmeric latte mix is made with Oranga palm sugar, which is sustainable. It's low GI. It's got delicious flavor. It's responsibly harvested, and it just is such a simple formulation. It's just 3 ingredients there, the Oranga palm, the elephant ginger, and then our Java turmeric. So, it's a lovely, well-rounded mix that you can put with any milk or milk substitute of your choice. And then our ginger shots, too. We really worked on the formulation because there's so many other products out there that, you taste and you're like, ooh, this definitely tastes healthy. We want it to taste delicious and be invigorating and something you're going to want to have and not, choke down, so to speak. So,
well, I want to try one. I have the wild turmeric, the coconut, and the lemon and cayenne. That's the one I'm going to try because I like the
wonderful.
I like the
lemon
hot
cayenne
stuff. I like that kind of high that you get, you know, from spicy food. Because it does kind of give you like a little bit of a rush, right?
It does, yeah. And cayenne and ginger both are circulatory herbs, so they help, stimulate blood flow and help get your juices going. And, that's how it gives you the natural boost without having to rely on caffeine. So for people who want something that's going to naturally energize and nourish their body, not overstimulate their adrenals, maybe they can't have caffeine for some reason or another, maybe they just want to avoid it, this is a great way to get it. That same effect without, that harshness that can come with caffeine. So what do you think?
Oh, my gosh, Janessa, this went right for the back of my throat. And you know what? I want that. Because,
wonderful.
Yeah, because I can be susceptible to getting like a sore throat and because I've had pneumonia before. And so just that whole part of my system, I want to rejuvenate that system as much as possible because I know I'm weak there. In my respiratory system and that, and I could feel this going for my throat, and that's where we have a lot of bacteria that can lead to us getting sick, and I could tell that and people don't realize that like cayenne is like an antibacterial.
Yes. Cayenne is a nutritional powerhouse in and of itself as well. So when you pair that with the ginger and then the cleansing lemon, it's just, a 3-in-1. It gets all your bases covered there.
And this is
really
smooth.
great this time of year, too, with so many people suffering from allergies.
Yes.
It really helps to get that all cleared out when you're feeling so congested.
I tell you, this like went right into my sinuses. I could feel them opening up. I could feel that I was getting more oxygen. I bet this is good for before a run or something like that.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. So that, of course, is going to further enhance its energizing properties because if you aren't getting enough oxygen, you're not breathing properly, then you're going to be more sluggish and tired. So this is going to help with that. So it's great to use, pre-workout, post-workout for recovery because of ginger's effect on inflammation and muscle soreness as well. Also, cayenne being a natural analgesic and pain reliever too, the capsicum and cayenne. So both of those together work so well. And ginger, a lot of people don't know this about ginger, but ginger is considered to be like a carrier herb in many different remedies. And so that's why you often see it paired in so many traditional Chinese remedies because it helps everything that's in the formula work better and go where it needs to go and have
like
more
booster.
Bioavailability.
It's
in
like
addition to being a powerful substance in and of itself because of its compounds, it also is like every other herb and substance's best friend. It helps it all get into your system faster and with less side effects, too. That's why they used to prepare it with so many different remedies in the old days that might have been a little worse than the disease, a lot of times. So ginger was always put with some of those harsher remedies that were used in old traditional Chinese medicine, or even here in America with the early eclectics. So it's a powerhouse in and of itself, but it also works so nicely and synergistically with everything you pair it with.
And what I like, I have one of your ginger chews here too.
Oh yeah.
Which I found to be a really yummy yet I could tell it was a super concentrated source as well. And I thought this is also perfect for, if you didn't want to have a liquid or something like that, and you wanted to make sure that you had them with you. And some people, they have a problem with being nauseous, for different reasons. Or
Totally, yeah.
And then pregnant women, of course, with morning sickness. And these products are perfectly safe. They're actually good for a pregnant woman, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah, we have so many people that contact us about the digestive, soothing, and anti-nausea properties of our candies, and we actually sample them out to chemo centers and doctors' offices all across the country to help specifically with that. We've had people contact us and say, your Gin candies saved me during chemo, or on this cruise I went on a charter boat, when everything else wasn't working, even some prescription nausea medications, our candies worked better in a lot of cases.
Oh my gosh, seasickness.
Without side effect, and it tastes delicious, so it's a win-win, Our candies are really unique because they're made with fresh stone ground ginger. So our ginger chews, the one you just had, is made with 10% ginger. It's a traditional Indonesian style of candy, and again, just really simple ingredients: fresh ginger, cane sugar, and tapioca starch. That's it. So not any other additives, flavors, extracts. All that flavor you're getting is from the Indonesian ginger we use. It's called sparrow ginger. It's delicate and petite in size and full of flavor and spice. So that's what gives it that delicious heat that you're tasting and feeling with the candies. So that's across all of our Gins candies there. So the chews, all the chews, the hard candies, the super strength as well. And so those are all great to have. And because, they're just individually wrapped, nice candies, they're portable. They can go with you in your purse and, in your pocket, wherever you're going, if you're traveling. And again, if you're feeling under the weather, you've got nausea for one reason or another medically, related, then these are just a great thing to have.
You know what else I think about with your low-calorie candies, Janessa? I think because I'm a dietitian, I think of weight loss, because when you start getting hungry, if you put ginger is one of those flavors that it takes away. It takes up the receptors on your tongue. So if you try to eat other foods, it actually kind of overpowers it, which is good because then you won't want to go eat these other foods. It changes the taste palette.
It totally does, yes. That's so funny you mentioned that because I literally had one of our fans email me today.
Oh, really?
'Cause I do all of our consumer services about that exact effect. They were having gins, one or two a night, about 20 minutes after dinner, and that was saving them from eating, some cake or other things, and they've lost, a decent amount of weight in the last 6 weeks from doing that. We've also had people contact us who use them to help quit smoking with smoking cessation. So, that is also another powerful thing because the ginger, helps, with that, kind of gives you that nice little buzz there from the warming and tingling sensation, but also, when you're sucking on a candy, then that's helping with the oral fixation that comes with smoking. That's one of the hard habits to break for people.
Or how about the vape pens,
Yes,
I mean, we're just thinking of cigarettes traditionally, but these vape pens have become an addiction as well.
Absolutely. So there's, no reason why it wouldn't help with that as well. I haven't had anybody specifically mention that to me directly, but, again, it's the same sort of, motion, the same action that you're doing. So, anything like that, it's great to have. So, not only is it a healthier for you treat, but it is a treat that's going to have some amazing properties and functionality.
And the candies are low calorie, so you're not going to, even if you, down like 5 of them or something like that, it's not like you're going to gain a pound from it because they're so low calorie.
There's only 3.5 grams of sugar per chew. There's about 1.6 grams in the super strength and about 2.6 grams in the hard candy per piece. So it's a really small amount, just enough, and as Mary Poppins once said, a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. So
that's another one that I use.
Moderation is a good thing at times. Yeah.
I use that one all the time too, Janessa, because as a dietitian, I am not against sugar. I mean, I put raw organic honey in my coffee as well as a little bit of organic sugar in there. But that's like, I don't eat it, throughout the day. That's like my one little treat. Mm-hmm. And to have, something sweet is satisfying. I love having something sweet. And that's what I love about your candies is that people they get all this flavor for one thing, and it's real flavor. It's not artificial flavor.
Exactly.
And it's the oral fixation thing, because let's face it, a lot of us have an oral fixation problem. So,
totally, yeah.
Well, it's like most of us out there.
Right. Yeah. Well, and even with nausea and anxiety, when you're sucking on something, it stimulates the chemicals in your body that help soothe and relax you, the suckling reflex in newborns. So when you have a candy that you're sucking on, it relaxes you, especially people who are prone to nervous tummies. Maybe they're about to do some public speaking and they don't like crowds, or they've got something else that's stressing them out and it affects their gut. Then this is a great little thing to help settle your tummy, make you feel better, kind of distract you from whatever's preoccupying your mind as well, and again, taste delicious. So, it's a win-win.
Well, we only have a few minutes left, so I wanted to get just some of the other products that I love that you guys make, which is those incredible sauces, and then you have the chopped ginger. So the thing is, we know that stir fries, we all the time when we're like, oh, how do you get your kids to eat more healthy? Make a stir fry, or to eat more, make a stir fry. You guys have taken, stir fry to a level where anyone can do it really fast, because let's face it, cutting up the ginger, that right there takes like 10 minutes.
Totally, yeah. So we definitely have a wide variety, as you mentioned, the sauces plus our pantry essentials. So we have our minced ginger, our sushi ginger, our grated ginger, our ginger juice, and then we have our sweet ones, our ginger syrup and spread, and all of those are organic. That's recipe-ready ginger when you need it. So whatever format you're making, maybe you want to add some of the grated to your stir-fry. Maybe you want to put some of the organic minced in a smoothie or a soup, for example. The juice is super popular with people using it for ginger teas or water or kombucha making as well.
Oh.
And then we have, of course, our sushi ginger, which is dye-free. It's left in its natural color, and it's just a very traditional rice vinegar brine that it's in. And then we also have our sauces, too, which also I want to mention, all of our sauces are now gluten-free. So in the last year and a half or so, we switched to a wheat-free soy sauce in those. So now they're all gluten-free. They're all GMO-free as well. And, they're lower sodium than your traditional counterparts that you would find in the conventional product lines across the board, and just really rich in that ginger flavor. So if you want a teriyaki that's maybe not as sweet as a traditional one, our ginger teriyaki is amazing for that. Our sweet ginger chili sauce is just bright and spicy but sweet and delicious, and a great, with a chicken satay, for example. So we have all the different formats that you could possibly need for any sort of ginger cooking or baking that you've got going on at home. So we make it easy and delicious for you.
And that crystallized ginger that you guys have too, because I remember hearing about crystallized ginger, but in my house we really didn't use it that much. Mm-hmm. How do people use crystallized ginger?
Right. So crystallized ginger is very common in baking. It can be added to cookies or scones, muffins, quick breads. I like to chop some up and add it to my gingerbread every year during Christmas time. You can also snack on it. Some people will just eat a cube or two, a slice or two. You can also use it as a garnish. It's great on a cheese plate with some chocolates and nuts and things like that. It's very complimentary with that. And we're seeing even now restaurants and bars use it as garnishes and cocktails. So you can add it to trail mix, oatmeal, whatever your heart desires, anywhere you want.
Great
a nice
ideas.
bit of sweet ginger you can bite into. It's perfect for any of that.
Yeah, it sounds yummy. And like when you go to the kitchen and you know you want something sweet, but you're trying to avoid the cookies and, like you said, the cakes and things like that, you know, something like a crystallized ginger can be very satisfying because it has all that flavor and your brain's like, hey, thank you. I feel good now. You gave me something.
Right. You can just have that one piece and nibble on it for a good 5 to 10 minutes, and then by the time you're done, you're like, oh, okay, I'm good, you know. So, yeah, ginger is great for helping with that satiety, as well as, you know, giving you the great health benefits too after dinner, just to kind of help with your digestion.
And your sauces, the sauces make vegetables taste fantastic. The sauces are everything. They're the key. Yes. And you guys have the creme de la creme of all the great sauces there. And I want to thank you so much, Janessa. This has been so informative. And the ginger people, we love you. Go to their website, everybody. Buy their products. You'll be happy too. All right. This is Elaine McFadden saying thanks for tuning in to Smart Health Talk. Find us on YouTube, find us on social media, and visit Blue Monarch Project and buy milkweed, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Will the birds and the bees survive?
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3